Billy Graham passed away this week. He's the original televangelist and religious scam artist. I want to show you what President Trump tweeted about him. He said, "The great," in all caps, "great Billy Graham is dead. There was nobody like him. He will be missed by Christians and all religions. A very special man." So, what's this guy's deal? Well, Counterpunch had an interesting piece about him a while back that I think I should share with you. The preacher and Vietnam, when Billy Graham urged Nixon to kill 1 million people. Great man. He's a great man. Great. People love him. Everybody loves him. I really do feel oftentimes like we live in the Twilight Zone, because there are some people that by no stretch of the imagination should ever be rehabilitated in polite society, and they get rehabilitated. Henry Kissinger has millions of dead bodies on his hand. Multiple genocides on his hand. I'm not exaggerating. And Henry Kissinger is beloved by the establishment in both parties. It's almost like both parties are bought by the military-industrial complex. Because seriously, Donald Trump just had a meeting with him in the White House, and Hillary Clinton, everybody knows how close Hillary Clinton is with Henry Kissinger. And Bernie was the only candidate who said, "I'm proud to say Henry Kissinger is not my friend." So how the fuck in polite society they act like, "Oh, this guy's great." Why? Just because he was in circles in American power? That doesn't make you, by definition, a good person. You could be a horrendous person and be in that situation. George W. Bush now has a majority of Democrats even like him now, because he said a few words against Trump. Well, George W. Bush is responsible for the deaths of at least 200,000 Iraqi civilians. Never mind torture, never mind the crash of the economy. I mean, what a terrible, terrible, terrible president and war criminal. But no, he gets rehabilitated. Why? He's a president and he smiles and he's goofy. And he doesn't like Trump, so double whammy. So, I want to give you some more specifics about this Billy Graham thing. Back in April 1989, Billy Graham wrote a memo to Nixon, and it was made public. And, in 1989, I think the memo was released. It was from much earlier than that. And it took the form of a secret letter. It was dated 1969, and it was after Billy Graham went to Bangkok with missionaries. I'm sorry, I can't say Bangkok without laughing. It was after Billy Graham met in Bangkok with missionaries from Vietnam. And they say, "These men of God said that if the peace talks in Paris were to fail, Nixon should step up the war and bomb the dikes. Such an act," Graham wrote excitedly, "could overnight destroy the economy of North Vietnam." So if they were to bomb the dikes, about 1 million people would have died. And Billy Graham wrote a letter to Nixon saying, "Yeah, do it anyway. Yes, bomb it. Come on, what are we waiting for?" Oh, man. And this is the guy who they're like, Trump's, "Oh, what a wonderful man." He appeared in the top, I don't know how many it is, top 50 or 60 in the Pew Research Most Admired People for decades. He appeared there. What the fuck is wrong with us? What's wrong with us? I think part of the problem is as long as people are polite to each other face to face and in the establishment circle, they're viewed as wonderful. So, for example, a guy like me, who I would argue I care deeply about important issues and I want to fix them, I want a living wage, I want to end the wars, I want a New Deal, I want free healthcare. So I'm in favor of fixing the world and making it a much better place. But because I curse and because I'm kind of abrasive and loud, they look at me like, "Oh, what a loathsome cretin and a scumbag." But a guy who's responsible for literally millions of deaths like Henry Kissinger, or hundreds of thousands, if not millions, like George Bush, or somebody who wanted to murder 1 million people, since he's polite and he speaks softly and talks about how wonderful it would be if we all believed in America and blah, 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 blah. Since he's one of those people, everybody in the establishment comes themselves and acts like, "Hero! Hero! Such a wonderful human being he is. Oh my goodness. We should all be more like Billy Graham and want 1 million dead people." So it's just sad. It's just the fucking saddest thing ever, man. I don't know what the fuck else it'll take. You know what it would take? If Billy Graham cursed like me and was loud like me, then they'd say, oh, man, how abrasive he is. No, he should not allowed in polite society. But if you advocate for killing 1 million people and you're soft-spoken, they love you. So our morality meter is broken. Our ethics meter is broken. So we have trouble keeping our eye on the ball and realizing who's actually a good person and who's a bad person. You know, we have a hard time understanding that you are what you do. It's a simple saying. It's one of my favorite ones of all time. I don't even know who said it, but I think it's the truest thing ever. You are what you do. So George W. Bush, you started an illegal war, killed minimum 200,000 people, did torture, crashed the economy. You are what you do. You own it. You own it. But no, because he's polite and he said some bad words about Trump. Wonderful. What a good man. What a good man. There was respectability in the White House. You'll hear Democrats say this nowadays. At least George W. Bush, though I disagree with him, I respected him. You know, this is shit that like Keith Olbermann is saying now. Their morality meter is broken. Their outrage meter's broken. They don't know. They can't keep their eye on the ball and care about policy and care about what matters. And that's how we get a situation where idiot Trump tweets about how wonderful this man is. By the way, in 1949, Billy Graham said end times would come within 5 years. The apocalypse would come within 5 years. Now, I'm not a genius, but to me, that looks like he's empirically, objectively, factually wrong. And maybe that would have been enough for reasonable people to say, oh, he's full of shit. He's a fucking scam artist, huckster, asshole. But no, just trotted right along, you know, as if he never made the prediction. John A. Hagee said in like 2012 or 2013, the world would come to an end because of the blood moons. And John Hagee is still a top evangelical preacher, and he's, big Trump supporter, and he's in polite society, treated by right-wingers like totally normal. He just said the world would end in like fucking 2012, and it didn't end. What the fuck's wrong with him? He's a liar! He's a liar! He's a liar! What the fuck? Imagine if I told you guys, yeah, the world's gonna end in fucking, back in 2013 on Secular Talk, I argued the world's gonna end in 2014, and then it didn't? None of you would listen to me anymore! And you'd be right not to listen to me anymore, because I'd be exposed as a fucking liar! But with these guys, water off a duck's ass. Doesn't matter. Final point. Graham also had secret tapes with Nixon. Remember when Nixon's secret tapes were released? And in the tapes, they were talking about how much they hate the Jews. Anti-Semitic, crazy, makes shit up, advocates for 1 million dead people. Hero in the eyes of America and Donald Trump.